Each passing day is an invitation to refresh the soul. What may sound like a simple phrase carries a timeless truth. Life never stops offering us new beginnings, whether we notice them or not. Every morning, when the sun rises, it is more than just a natural cycle of the universe. It is a gentle reminder that we can start over again, in thought, in action, and in how we see ourselves in the world. So often we carry the weight of the past, regrets, mistakes, disappointments, and pain. They settle like dust upon the heart, clouding our vision and weighing us down. Yet the wonder of life is that every morning, when we open our eyes, the breath is still with us. Life is still here, present in this moment. And this means we are still given the chance to begin again, with a clearer mind and a freer spirit. Wisdom and compassion are the keys that unlock this renewal. Wisdom helps us see that nothing is permanent, that what has already passed does not have to define or bind us if we are willing to let go. Compassion allows us to forgive, not only others, but also ourselves. Often, the harshest critic in our lives is the one within. To forgive ourselves is to give space for healing, to give permission to rise once more after falling. Imagine each morning as a blank page. On it, you can write anything, a gentle reminder, a new intention, a small expression of gratitude. Even a single mindful breath at dawn is a seed of peace planted in the soil of your day. When we allow the mind to rest in the stillness of morning, the heart naturally opens. We begin to see the world with clearer eyes, free from yesterday's shadows. Some people think that change requires great leaps, but often it begins with something small. A simple shift in the way we begin the day can transform the direction of an entire life. A morning rooted in gratitude can soften the tensions of the hours ahead. A morning grounded in compassion can help us listen more deeply and love more openly. And a morning guided by wisdom gives us the strength to walk with steadiness through life's impermanence. But we must remember, renewal is not confined to the morning. Any moment of the day can be a new beginning if we dare to pause, breathe, and return to the heart. At noon, when exhaustion weighs on us, a single mindful breath can refresh the soul. In the afternoon, when sadness lingers, placing a hand gently over the heart and whispering, "I can begin again," can restore a quiet strength. Every breath, every moment, holds the seed of renewal if we are awake to it. On this path, Buddha's wisdom journey hopes to be a companion, a place of guidance and reflection for those seeking peace, wisdom, and compassion in daily life. We believe that through nurturing mindfulness, opening the heart, and refreshing the soul, each of us can transform today into a beginning full of meaning, no matter what has come before. So give yourself permission. Let each sunrise be a mirror, reflecting not just light into the world, but light back into you. Do not be trapped by the past or consumed by the future. The true beginning is always born in the present moment, and the present is always here, in this breath, this step, this heartbeat. If these reflections resonate with you, we warmly invite you to join us on Buddha's wisdom journey. Subscribe to the channel so you won't miss new teachings and gentle reminders that nurture the spirit. And if you feel inspired, share your own thoughts or experiences in the comments. You never know, your words may become the light of a new beginning for someone else. Each day is a chance to renew the soul. And with wisdom and compassion, that chance becomes a living reality, helping us walk with steadiness, clarity, and peace through the journey of life, letting go of yesterday. A journey back to lightness. Every morning is a chance to begin again, a blank page placed gently in our hands by life itself. Yet so often we step into a new day carrying the weight of yesterday, the mistakes, the regrets, the worries, the hurts. We awaken with the shadows of the past still heavy in our hearts, and in doing so, we unknowingly turn today into nothing more than a continuation of yesterday's burdens. But pause for a moment and ask yourself, why hold on to what is already finished? When the sun sets, the light of the day naturally fades away, and the night follows. We don't cling to yesterday's sunset, hoping it will shine for us again today. So why do we cling to old sorrows, anger, or regrets? Letting go of yesterday doesn't mean forgetting or pretending it never happened. It means recognizing that yesterday has already served its purpose. It has offered its lessons, its experiences, its challenges. And now it's time to lay it down, so that our hands and hearts remain open for something new. Many of us fear that letting go means losing part of ourselves. But the truth is the opposite. Only when we let go do we return to our true selves. The natural state of the heart is freedom and spaciousness. Carrying resentment and regret is not who we are. It is like clouds covering the sky. And when the clouds drift away, the sky reveals itself again, clear and boundless. Think of the sunrise. When the first light of dawn breaks through, it drives away the darkness of night. In the same way, we can choose each morning to release the darkness within. We can remind ourselves, gently, yesterday is gone. Today is a new beginning. Simple words, but repeated with awareness, they can become a key to inner freedom. The benefits of letting go are profound. First, the heart becomes lighter. Without yesterday's weight, we walk into the present with fresh energy, like a traveler laying down a heavy bag and suddenly walking with ease. Second, letting go creates space. A heart filled with the past leaves little room for the present to enter. But when we release what has already passed, we begin to notice the small joys of today, the coolness of morning air, a kind smile, or simply the rhythm of our own breath. Third, letting go nourishes wisdom and compassion. Free from regret, we can look back at the past with calmness and clarity. We see lessons where once there was only pain. Compassion naturally arises when we realize everyone makes mistakes, everyone stumbles, and what matters most is not the fall, but the courage to rise again. Compassion also extends inward. We learn to forgive ourselves, to stop punishing ourselves for what cannot be undone. A new day is always a new beginning. But that beginning will only be complete if we have the courage to release the day before. Otherwise, today is just yesterday in disguise. Letting go is not an instant act, but a practice. When a painful memory surfaces, smile softly and whisper, "I have learned from this." When anger arises towards someone, breathe deeply and remind yourself, they too are still learning, just like me. When regret visits, accept it and say, that moment has passed. Today I have another chance to do better. The path of letting go is not always easy. Some memories cling tightly. Some wounds take time to heal. But every day, if we patiently put down even a little of the weight, the heart will grow freer. Just as the sun never fails to rise, life never stops giving us opportunities to start anew. Try this tomorrow morning. Before rushing into the day, sit quietly for just 1 minute. Breathe in, breathe out, and say gently, "Yesterday has ended. Today is a new day. I choose to walk lightly." That single moment plants a seed of peace. And when nourished with mindfulness and compassion, that seed can blossom into a garden of freedom within you. Letting go of yesterday is not about losing, it is about gaining. Gaining lightness, gaining freedom, gaining the ability to live fully here and now. It is the greatest gift you can give yourself. And when your heart is free, each day stops being just another task to endure. It becomes a journey worth living, rich with meaning and peace. Recognizing the preciousness of today, living fully in each moment. There is a truth we often forget. Today itself is a gift. A new day is not something guaranteed, but a blessing quietly placed into our hands. Yet how many mornings do we rush forward, caught in routine, swept away by tasks, and overlook the wonder of simply being alive? Each breath, each ray of morning light, each heartbeat that carries us forward. These are treasures beyond measure. When we learn to see the day as a gift, our perspective shifts. A gift is not something to ignore, nor something to use carelessly. A gift is to be opened with gratitude, embraced with presence, and cherished fully. And unlike any other, the gift of today cannot be repeated. Once it passes, it will never return. That is why every sunrise is not just the start of a day, but a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to live with clarity and depth. Ask yourself, if today were my last day, how would I live it? This question is not meant to fill us with fear, but to awaken us. It calls us back to what truly matters. If today were our last, we might not waste time on petty arguments or carry the weight of grudges. We might not delay the words of kindness or the gestures of love waiting on our lips. Instead, we would live simply, honestly, and fully. Holding this question in the heart transforms how we move through the hours. A cup of tea in the morning is no longer routine, but a quiet ritual of mindfulness. A greeting to a loved one becomes a chance to connect, heart to heart. Even the ordinary moments, the sunlight through the window, the song of a bird, the rhythm of the breath, become miracles worth savoring. The benefits of recognizing the preciousness of today run deep. First, it teaches us to treasure the present moment. Instead of leaning forward into an uncertain future or clinging backward to an unchangeable past, we rest here, in this very breath, where life is truly unfolding. Second, it helps us live more deeply. When we see today as a gift, we no longer skim the surface of experience. We taste life fully, whether it is eating a simple meal with gratitude, taking one mindful step on the earth, or pausing to listen inwardly to the silence within. Depth arises not from what we do, but from the way we are present with it. Third, it cultivates gratitude. To realize that today is precious is to naturally feel thankful for the chance to breathe, to love, to learn, to forgive, and to grow. Gratitude softens the hard edges of the heart. It washes away resentment and opens us to gentleness, allowing us to walk lightly through the day. Life is not measured by the number of years we live, but by the depth of each moment we truly inhabit. A single day lived with presence and appreciation may be worth more than years spent in distraction. And that depth only reveals itself when we pause, when we choose to see the miracle of now. Tomorrow is never promised. Yesterday is forever gone. What we truly hold in our hands is only today. And if today is a gift, how will you open it? How will you live so that, when the day closes, you can smile and whisper, "I have truly lived"? So right now, as you read these words, slow down. Look around you, perhaps at the light in your room, the quiet that surrounds you, or the simple presence of being here. Place your hand gently on your heart, feel its steady beat, and remind yourself, today is a gift. I will live fully with it. When we learn to recognize the preciousness of today, we stop chasing illusions. We return to what is simple and true. Happiness no longer hides in the distant future, but reveals itself right here, in the ordinary. And in that recognition, each day becomes a miracle, each moment a doorway to peace and wisdom. Wisdom is not just the accumulation of knowledge or the ability to recall facts. True wisdom is the clarity to see the essence of things as they are, beyond illusions, appearances, and personal biases. Knowledge can fill the mind, but wisdom illuminates the heart. It allows us to step beyond the surface of life and perceive the deeper truths that govern existence. When we speak of wisdom in the spiritual sense, it is not merely about intelligence or intellectual sharpness. It is the quiet insight that arises when the mind becomes still, when we observe without clinging, and when we allow reality to reveal itself. Wisdom is the lamp that cuts through the fog of confusion, guiding us to walk a path of balance and compassion. The practice of igniting wisdom begins with gentle reminders to ourselves. We remind ourselves of impermanence, the undeniable truth that nothing in life remains the same. Every breath we take, every flower that blooms, every relationship we hold dear is subject to change. To remember impermanence is not to fall into despair, but to live with greater appreciation. It helps us cherish the fleeting beauty of life without clinging desperately, knowing that all things naturally rise and fall. Next, we remind ourselves of cause and effect, the law of karma that quietly shapes the unfolding of our lives. Every action, word, and thought plants a seed, and each seed carries within it the potential for future experiences. Wisdom sees this clearly and encourages us to plant seeds of kindness, patience, and generosity. It reminds us that the suffering or joy we meet is not random, but the result of choices made in the past. And it guides us to live with responsibility for the choices we make in the present. We also remind ourselves of interconnection, the deep web that ties all beings and all phenomena together. No single life exists in isolation. The air we breathe, the food we eat, the shelter we rely on, none of it is possible without the countless beings and elements that support us. Wisdom perceives this truth and softens the walls of selfishness. It teaches us that harming another is ultimately harming ourselves, and helping another is also nourishing our own being. When these reminders become part of our daily awareness, they transform the way we act, think, and respond. Instead of being driven by craving, anger, or ignorance, we begin to act with clarity and compassion. Wisdom does not suppress our human emotions, but it shines a light so we are not enslaved by them. When anger arises, wisdom sees it as a passing cloud, not a permanent identity. When desire arises, wisdom recognizes its root and gently loosens its grip. To ignite wisdom is to walk with a light in hand through the darkness of confusion. It does not mean we have all the answers, but it means we can see enough to take the next step with confidence and peace. Wisdom keeps us from being swept away by the storms of greed, hatred, and delusion, and helps us return again and again to the center of balance within. Compassion is not something distant or lofty, reserved only for saints or sages. It begins in the simplest, most ordinary moments of daily life. True compassion starts with the way we treat ourselves. When we can smile at the scars of our past, When we can accept our limitations and imperfections without judgment, the seed of compassion has already been planted in the soil of the heart. One who cannot extend kindness toward themselves will find it difficult to offer genuine kindness to others. Nurturing compassion does not mean indulging the ego. It means deeply understanding that we too are human, learning, stumbling, sometimes lost in the push and pull of success and failure, right and wrong. When we see our own suffering and embrace it with gentleness instead of rejection, we begin to open our eyes to the suffering of others. And it is precisely this recognition of suffering, both our own and that of others, that allows compassion to grow. Practicing compassion does not require grand gestures. Sometimes, it shows itself in something as small as a kind word, a glance of understanding, or a sincere smile. A simple touch of encouragement, or a question asked with genuine concern, can be enough to light up someone's entire day. Compassion doesn't need to shout. It often whispers through the quiet details of life, where human hearts meet and recognize one another. When we cultivate compassion, we are healing wounds, not only within ourselves, but also in the world around us. Compassion is a medicine for division. It is the bridge that connects hearts once separated by fear or resentment. Every act of kindness is a seed of trust planted in the soil of humanity. A reminder that despite all the suffering and harshness, there is still goodness alive in this world. Compassion also deepens our understanding of interconnectedness. To see another suffer is to realize that their pain touches us too, because no being exists in isolation. Like drops of water in the vast ocean, our joys and sorrows ripple outward, affecting the whole. When we ease one person's suffering, we are in truth helping the collective body of humanity breathe a little easier, live a little lighter. Yet compassion cannot remain as a fleeting emotion. It must be nourished into a way of life. It matures through practice, learning to listen without rushing to judge, stepping into the shoes of another, forgiving mistakes, and softening the edges of our own rigid hearts. Sometimes nurturing compassion is not about doing more, but about doing less. Less harshness, less anger, less selfishness. The beauty of compassion is that it blesses both the one who receives and the one who gives. Every time we extend kindness, our own hearts are freed from the chains of bitterness and fear. Compassion is like a cool breeze that soothes the heat of inner conflict, easing the wounds that lie hidden beneath the surface. It lightens us, allowing us to walk through life unburdened by the weight of grudges or the need to always be right. Living with compassion naturally transforms our relationships. Genuine kindness creates trust, openness, and deep bonds that endure beyond superficial connections. No one can resist the sincerity of a heart that cares. In a world that often feels cold and fragmented, compassion is the flame that warms, the light that reassures us that humanity still lives within us. From these small acts of care, the world itself can gradually be transformed, setting an intention for the new day. When the first light of dawn gently enters through the window, it offers us something precious, a chance to begin again. Each new day is a gift, and within that gift lies the opportunity to plant a seed of intention. An intention is not a rigid vow or an empty promise to ourselves. It is more like a compass, quietly guiding us through the hours ahead, helping us not to be swept away by the shifting tides of life. Imagine that every morning is like a blank sheet of paper, and the pen is in your hand. You can write anything upon it. If you do not write deliberately, life will write for you. through old habits, restless distractions, or lingering worries. But if, at the very beginning, you choose to set down a simple and sincere intention, something like, "Today I will live with wisdom and compassion," then the entire day is colored by that light. Setting an intention is an act of nurturing the heart. It is like lighting a lamp to illuminate the path ahead. That lamp may not banish all darkness, but it shines enough to help you walk steadily without losing your way. With direction in your mind, you are less likely to be carried away by small frustrations, passing conflicts, or sudden emotions. An intention is also a place of return for mindfulness. In the rush of daily life, it is easy to forget ourselves. But recalling the intention set in the morning is like remembering that you carry a map in your pocket. You can pause, take a breath, and ask yourself, does this action, this word, this thought still align with the intention I set at the beginning of the day? This simple practice brings depth to life, preventing the day from slipping by unnoticed. The beauty of intention is that it does not need to be grand or dramatic. It can be something small, yet rooted in sincerity. One person may choose the intention not to harbor anger today. Another may vow to listen with greater openness. Someone else may decide simply to smile at least once in the face of difficulty. These small seeds, when cultivated with patience, hold the power to transform the entire landscape of one's life. Change rarely comes from sudden leaps. It grows from steady, humble steps taken each day. A day with intention is like a river with a clear direction. No matter how many rocks or rapids it encounters, it knows it is flowing toward the sea. A day without intention is like a boat adrift in open waters, at the mercy of winds and waves, uncertain of its course. Intention steadies the heart, giving us something to lean into so that we do not lose ourselves in the endless cycles of tasks, desires, and distractions. When we set an intention, we are sending a quiet message to ourselves. Today will not be wasted. Today will be a step, however small, on the path of inner growth. Today will be a chance to live more fully, more gently, more deeply. And if each day begins this way, then a lifetime itself becomes meaningful, rather than a scattering of forgotten hours. Intention benefits not only ourselves, but also those around us. A person living with the intention of wisdom and compassion naturally radiates an energy of peace. Their words soften, their actions carry kindness, and their presence becomes steady and reassuring. This presence, born of intention, can inspire others to live more meaningfully as well. To set an intention for the new day is to open the door to higher possibilities. It does not make us perfect overnight, but it ensures that we are always moving upward, refining ourselves, expanding our hearts, and walking closer to the quiet center of peace within. Each day becomes a step toward the person we long to be, and a step into deeper harmony with life itself. Each day when the sun rises, it is not only the outer world that is renewed. The soul, too, is offered the chance to begin again. Life is impermanent, and within this impermanence lies a hidden gift. The chance to refresh ourselves, to live differently, to step out of the old patterns that trap us in worry and habit. No two mornings are ever the same. Even when our routines repeat, the flow of time and life is always painting a brand new canvas, inviting us to explore. In the busyness of life, we often forget that an ordinary day is already a miracle. Pause for a moment, take a deep breath, and you will see how wondrous it is simply to still be here, to feel the light, to hear the sounds, to touch the fabric of life. And in that instant of awareness, we realize a day is not only for survival, it is an opportunity for growth, for nourishing the spirit, for starting anew. The simple yet profound message is this: when we begin a day with wisdom and compassion, the entire world around us becomes lighter and brighter. Wisdom allows us to see clearly into the nature of things, to know what is real and what is false, what should be held and what should be released. Compassion opens the heart, teaching us to live for one another, to understand the suffering of others. A person who carries both wisdom and compassion becomes like a small sun, radiating gentle energy, lighting not only their own path, but also the paths of those around them. If every morning we plant just one small intention, today I will live with wisdom and compassion, then naturally throughout the day we walk with a lantern guiding each step. When difficulties arise, wisdom reminds us to stay calm. When faced with someone who hurts us, compassion reminds us to open our heart. Living in this way transforms the space around us. Tensions ease, misunderstandings dissolve, distances are bridged, and within ourselves we feel lighter, as if carrying wings that help us move through the storms of daily life. Imagine if each person began the day with such a heartfelt intention, how the world would slowly become more gentle. A place where people see each other with kind eyes, where goodness is no longer rare, where peace is not just a dream. A small shift in the heart can awaken great change in the world outside. Just as a single candle can drive away the dark, when many candles are lit together, the whole room glows. We begin to see that renewing ourselves each day is not something distant or difficult. It happens in the small practices, in a word of kindness instead of harshness, in a smile instead of a frown, in a moment of listening instead of rushing to judge. Little by little, these small gestures weave together into a meaningful day, and then into a beautiful life. So here is the invitation. Tomorrow, try beginning with an open mind and a compassionate heart. Give yourself the chance to live a day differently, lighter, clearer, more open. See what shifts when you plant a seed of goodness into the morning. Perhaps tomorrow could mark the beginning of a new journey, a journey where you discover true peace within your own heart. If you feel these reflections speak to you, I warmly invite you to walk this path together with us here on Buddha's Wisdom Journey. Subscribe so that, each day, we can continue planting seeds of wisdom and compassion, gently nourishing the soul with reminders that uplift and ground us. And I would love to hear from you. What inspires you to begin fresh each day? Do you have a small morning habit that helps bring your heart into peace? Leave a comment below. Your words may be exactly what someone else needs to read, to find strength, or to begin again.